Hey, this is Luke with the Android Guys Review Podcast. I'm here with Scott.
Hi, Luke. How are you today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well.
You have a game to review?
I do.
What do you got?
This is a cool one.
Yeah?
Sky, Children of the Light.
Okay.
And it's certainly not new. It was new to me, but it's got quite a few downloads. And I can see why. And it's rated very well. It's a very fun game to play with headphones.
Ooh, okay.
Which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
When we score games, a lot of times it's, sometimes you don't notice it until it's such a pain in your butt.
Yeah.
It's repetition, or just doesn't seem to match. But this is one that, and it tells you when you first start playing it that you will enjoy it more. The sound is equally as much of the experience. So you're basically a character in this world, and it's kind of like a third person over your shoulder. Very dreamlike, very fun, gorgeous color palette, and it's like so far for me, there's 7 worlds, but I feel like I'm only partially into the first one.
Oh,
and I've played a while.
Yeah.
I have fallen asleep playing this game a couple times because it's
Really?
so like dreamy. Now I tend to, I'll fall asleep on the couch. I'll get up at night,
Sure.
go lay down in bed and play on my phone a little bit, and I'll switch over to a game. And this is one that will straight up relax me.
Yeah.
Because it's the sound. There is like this really cool ambient noise that kind of, the wind kind of moves from one ear to the next. And just these little audio cues in the background. And then when things happen, like your character will kind of explore this land and you don't really know what you're doing at first. It reminded me of Myst.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where you just kind of start out and you're like, what am I doing?
Right.
But I enjoyed that because it kind of gives you this sense of like, let's explore the world and the capabilities and the gameplay all at the same time. You don't feel like you're thrust into something where you're being chased and you have to kind of react. You just look around.
Yeah.
So it's like this dreamy otherworld kind of landscape, and you can you'll start to interact with kind of like candles.
Okay.
You'll go and you'll light them, and it'll kind of direct you. You'll feel like you're being kind of pointed in a certain way, and there are some like assistance kind of things that will pop up, but you will meet some different characters along the way. You will learn to kind of fly. So you'll go from like being able to like jump on ledges to learning to like fly. And it is a really easy game to pick up. It's really fun to kind of look around and not feel rushed.
Yeah.
And the design is one of the coolest. Like if you think of the color palette of like Monument Valley,
Yeah.
and then maybe a little bit of like, if I say synthwave,
Yeah.
you kind of conjure up some colors in your head.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that.
Interesting.
Neons, but not flashy.
Right.
Just the right purples and pinks, and they complement each other. But the game has 7 worlds, and I feel like I could spend a long time in this game. It's free. And I mean, it's just the kind of game where if you want to put 5 to 10 minutes into it, I noticed that I can, like I said, fall asleep, and I'll wake up and it'll, I'll go back into the game and it'll kind of pick up right where I left off. So you don't have to like start at the beginning of a world or at a certain spot. I definitely think it's a cool game to check out. And I want to say there were like 10 million downloads of this thing.
Wow. So is it like, what are you trying to do? Are there like puzzles and stuff that you're trying to solve?
Yeah, you're more or less trying to, for instance, early in the game, you'll before you can move on to the next level or the next part of that level, you'll have to kind of go into a cave, and you will have to kind of like light up certain things and see almost like kind of like the ghosts of people that have been there before.
Okay.
Or like the ancestors, you'll see them kind of doing like rituals and things. But as you light them and kind of like look around, once you've activated all those, then you look to a different part of the map and you can see that it's kind of lit up so that you can go there.
Oh, okay.
And when you want to jump from like this level or plane to the next one, you're like flying. So you spend a few minutes kind of like navigating through clouds and kind of come in and land, and you can feel like, oh, this is a different world. Like Mario, like each level feels a little bit different from the next.
Sure.
You notice right away here the same thing.
Interesting. Okay.
This feels like a different
next
challenge.
Part, yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool game, man. I definitely recommend it. I've had a lot of fun with it. I want to spend a lot more time with it.
Yeah.
It's not one that, we review apps and games all the time, and you got to make room on your phone.
Right.
Or if you try a different handset and you're testing that out, you figure out which games do I want to put on it. This is one that I'm like, I don't want to get rid of this.
Right.
I want to see this thing through the end.
Right.
And I don't know how long it is, but it feels like it could be not a huge time sink, but it's like
there's a lot of game there.
There's a lot of game there, and it feels like one of those indie games that you might find on a PlayStation, or Xbox. You're like, oh, this thing's great.
So you said it's a free game. Are there like in-app purchases?
There are some like outfits and customization you can do.
Okay.
There's like a Halloween themed kind of thing going on right now that you can do, but really, you don't have to.
Yeah,
I mean, you can, but it's just a fun game.
Okay. So yeah, wow, that's interesting. It sounds great for free. That sounds
awesome. I was surprised, and I did, if I remember correctly, I saw it had won some awards like 2019 or so.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I might have been late to this one, but I would definitely recommend. I mean, I don't know anybody else that was playing it, so
cool.
I would certainly recommend.
We'll put some scores on it.
Yeah. These are
All right, so we're gonna do 1 to 5. Let's start with features.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
This one seems to be pretty full in terms of, I think of this as how much game do I get for the money.
Right.
Sometimes it's, do I have other levels or side quests and daily rewards, or how much game do I get for the money?
Right.
And here I feel like I'm getting a lot of game for the money, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. Graphics.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Ooh, that's pretty high.
It's not overly heavy, but it feels like there was a lot of attention and a lot of intention behind it.
Yeah.
Some of the things can, like even the main character, you look at him, it's like, that's just simple.
Yeah.
But the way the characters move, the way the levels, the backgrounds and everything, the graphics really do a lot with not much.
Right. So this is maybe a little bit of a tangent, but we usually have varied handsets around that we're using because we're trying stuff, and most of the time we're using pretty good phones. Do you think something like this would work fine on a maybe lesser device?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet. First started playing this on a phone that's almost 2 years old. OnePlus 8.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that was a pretty powerful phone for the time.
Yeah.
And it still is. So I would say if you have a handset that's, in the last couple of years, you should have absolutely no problem.
Sweet.
Playing this.
Okay, so audio.
5.
A 5 on the audio.
Because it is that cool.
Wow.
You can play it without headphones, earbuds, but if you do, you're rewarded for it. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I first started playing it with earbuds, and I was just kind of like, I felt myself kind of really drawn into the game.
Nice. Okay. Replay value.
I have it down as a 4.
Okay.
Because I do want to continue to explore it. I do want to come back. It's not like individual levels and quests and achievements and log in every day to do this or unlock that, but I definitely feel like I want to come back and continue to play this game. And I feel like there's a lot of game too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that a 4.
Okay. So, and then that last thing would be ads and notifications.
I'm going to give that a 4 as well.
Okay.
There hasn't been anything overt. I haven't had anything where it was like, hey, don't forget.
Right.
Because there have been days and even a week or two that'll go by and I haven't played it, but I haven't had my phone remind me.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything where it's like this dreamy sequence and I go to meet this guy and it's abrupt, like, here, watch this ad.
Right.
I feel like they do it's just a great game where you kind of look at it and go, I wonder how they're making enough money to support this.
Interesting. Well, so that brings it to a 4.3.
That's what I have.
That's great.
Yeah. Compared to some of the other things I've reviewed recently, I love it.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely a cool one, and I believe there's a beta version in the Play Store. I don't know what the difference is. So if you're maybe wanting to check out, play, I don't know, some early look at upcoming features, or some of the event or season kind of customization things. Maybe that's what I'm not sure. So
interesting.
But there's Sky, Children of the Light, and then there's a beta version in the Play Store.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Scott.
You got it.